Today on episode 33 of the Be a Marketer podcast, you'll hear highlights from Constant Contact's latest Small Business Now research report, An AI Awakening. This is the Be a Marketer podcast.
Be a Marketer.
My name is Dave Charest, Director of Small Business Success at Constant Contact. And I've been helping small business owners like you make sense of online marketing for over 16 years. You can be a marketer, and I'm here to help. Well, hello, friend, and thanks for joining me for another episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. If you could have an extra hour in your week, how would you use it? I'm sure that's a question many of us have pondered when we're feeling particularly stressed or busy. And if you're a small business owner, though, you're probably feeling that way all of the time. On any given day, you're fulfilling orders, keeping up with your books, interacting with customers, managing staff, and performing dozens of other tasks. And I'm sure you'd relish the opportunity to gain back an extra hour, whether to be more productive or maybe even just take a break. Now, the good news is that technology can help you claw back that extra time, specifically when it comes to artificial intelligence and marketing automation. Thanks to ChatGPT and an explosion of other practical applications over the last 12 months, interest in AI is booming. It's helping businesses cut back on manual work, and it feels like everyone wants to get their hands on AI. But is that true for other small business marketers like you? Well, if you're wondering what your peers are thinking about these technologies, and for those who are using them, what results are they seeing? Well, Constant Contact polled over 480 small businesses across the country to find answers to those questions. And our report, Small Business Now, An AI Awakening, outlines how small businesses are feeling about AI and marketing automation, and provides insights into how these technologies can enhance marketing effectiveness and help you save time and money. And lucky for you, today's guest is here to discuss some highlights from the report. Well, friend, today's guest is Michael Wood, Constant Contact's Senior PR Manager. Michael considers himself the behind-the-scenes company hype man. His job is to tell the rest of the world all about the great things going on at Constant Contact. News, research, and of course, who we are and what we do. He also leads the charge on Constant Contact's research and trends reports designed to explore topics relevant to small business owners and nonprofits. The reports look at things like how things are changing in the industry, how small businesses are changing, ways their customers are changing, and the challenges owners are coming up against. Also, Constant Contact can provide better guidance to our customers to help you become more successful. Now, this research also allows us to develop better tools that are more effective and innovative for our customers as well. Now, before Michael and I got to the latest findings, we discussed the value of businesses doing their own research. Well, let's pick up the conversation there. There's something interesting about doing reports like this, right? And I want to bring it up because I think it's a valuable tactic even for small businesses to think about and to use. Because if you've got some expertise in a particular industry, which we know many of our customers do, nonprofits as well, any type of research that you can do that is bespoke, right, is something that you've created, allows you to have something to talk about that is different from what other people are talking about because it's your proprietary information, right? In many instances. And so I think it's just important to note, like, you mentioned, we're trying to get press and we're trying to get these types of things. All businesses are trying to promote themselves. And on many levels, like, yes, the ultimate goal is to help our customer, but also it gives us the opportunity to have something to say that would be of interest to other people, or them using that as a statistic or something like that that comes out of these reports. Anything to add there before we move into the report, just in terms of like how another bit, like one of our customers could follow a similar plan, right? Realistically?
Yeah. I mean, when I think about certainly our PR activity, our marketing activities, and these kinds of reports, my goal, and I think I probably speak for most people, if not all of us in the organization here when I say, but I think about it as I want Constant Contact to be a resource for press, for our customers, for other small businesses who aren't our customers, for people who are just starting with marketing and are just learning how to get better, or maybe they're doing it and they want to improve their skills. Like, I want Constant Contact to be synonymous with small business. One of the great ways for us to be that resource is to do like original research like this, so that people know, hey, if I am not sure what my customers want around the holidays, I know I can go to Constant Contact and they're going to have some information for me, whether it's stats or takeaways or tips on what I should be focused on, or even things like AI and automation. Hey, how are my other peers thinking about this? Constant Contact's going to have the answer. So that's my goal with reports like this, is to just be consistent and be frequent with publishing them so that people think of us in that conversation.
What were we interested in learning in this latest round when it came to the most recent report?
It's kind of funny. So intuitively, I think we know, and certainly Dave, I know customers you've spoken with and probably reflected this too, but like with ChatGPT and the conversation about AI and automation really just kind of exploding off the page earlier this year. We started there and we knew we wanted to dig into that a little bit more, because that frankly was a very buzzy topic for the last year or so. And we wanted to bring it to the level of where our customers are, right? So that we're not talking about AI taking over the world or anything like that. And like specifically, how are small businesses thinking about it? And it was fun. So when we were architecting the start of the report, we started with this question of, what would you do if you could have an extra hour back in your week? It's such a relatable way to think about it, because we've probably all thought about that at one time or another, right? Like, God, it's such a busy week. I wish I had another hour. I wish I had another hour in the day or in the month, another day in the month even. And so that kind of gave us the footing for the rest of the report, and it kind of flowed from there. So what we wanted to do was explore the ways that small businesses are thinking about AI and automation. What's their level of awareness? What's their familiarity, sentiment, and how are they feeling about it? Okay, so maybe company A knows what AI is. Company B maybe has used it before. How are you feeling about it? Do you like it? Do you not? Are you nervous? Are you not? Are you excited? I found a lot of excitement, which is great. So spoiler there. But we really just wanted to dig into it and get a sense for where our customers and where small businesses at their same level were at with this kind of technology, because it's not unfair to say it's revolutionary technology. And it's very new to a lot of small businesses and nonprofits. Enterprise companies have had this technology for years and have had time to perfect it and test it and integrate it into all of their products. But for a lot of small businesses, it's the first time they're getting access to it. And so there's some hesitation and there's some curiosity and there's some education that needs to be had. And there's a lot of excitement when you use your first content generator and you see what it creates for you. So there was really a lot to dig into there. And we wanted to understand it, distill it, and come up with some recommendations for how our customers can use this kind of technology.
What are some of the findings that are kind of worth highlighting for folks?
If I were to boil it down to just like overall themes, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of opportunity. And I think what's really cool about our report and what we found is that there are actual real results now. This kind of thing has been, I guess, theoretical for so long, or science fiction, or whatever you want to call it. Like it's been a little pie in the sky, a little unreachable. And now small businesses are actually getting their feet wet and their hands on the kind of stuff, using it and seeing results. So at a very, very high level, that's what really stood out. But we found that most small businesses are really excited about this technology. So their adoption of it is actually accelerating. It's growing quite a bit. I think it was right around 75% of the small businesses that we polled said that they were interested in using either AI or automation in their business. And then for me, it was a little bit more exciting to see that 55%, so more than half of those folks said their interest level was higher today than it was 6 months ago. We did this report about a month ago, so I think earlier in the year. So that just, to me, that shows that they're moving along that journey. They're really, really excited and trying to actively get their hands on these kinds of tools. That was a really interesting start, I think. We also found, or let me back up, we wanted to understand the effectiveness of the technology, right? So you could be really, really excited about it, but is it going to work? And where are you going to be using it? And what's the result? What's the outcome? And also really positive. We've 91% of the small businesses that we polled said that AI has made their business more successful. So you just pause and think about that for a second. That's really powerful. We did a study a couple years ago where we asked small businesses how they were feeling about technologies like AI or automation, machine learning, like some of those other like buzzier words from a few years ago. And it's interesting now to compare and contrast the two. It's not a perfect apples to apples comparison, but previously when we just asked it level of interest in these technologies, I want to say it was only about a third of small businesses had expressed any kind of an interest or were using any of these technologies. It really wasn't on the radar for most of them. And when you see now that swing to 75% are really, really trying to integrate this stuff into the tools that they're already using and make their lives easier and work faster and more efficiently, that's been a dramatic shift. So that's one of the more surprising things to me when you think about just how far we've come in about 2 years. Really, really cool to see that.
Part of this is obviously to provide information to our customers so they can use that and find out what's going on with other businesses and all of that. And then the flip side, of course, is that, we learn about ways that we may be able to help, right, with that. And I think like the history of time has been the problem, right? And that's usually the thing, like where do you find the time to be a marketer, right? Particularly when that's not your skill set. And so you've got all these other hats to wear, you've got all these other things to do. And what I find interesting about this, and I'm glad that the people that are adopting it and like looking into it and are seeing the value from being able to be more efficient, right? Get some of that time back. I think, the way we've talked about it and as we're looking at, as we add AI and automation tools within Constant Contact for our customers, it's really about this idea, like one, the blank page problem, right? Is where we're kind of starting, is that like you can get content generated that helps you promote something by putting in some keywords. Like that's interesting. And it also solves that other problem of, right, where if you go to a native AI model or whatever the case may be, is you've got to prompt it, right? You've got to figure out how to get the right output from it. And so that creates this whole other problem of something that as a small business owner, I got to go figure this out, right? So I have to find the time to go figure out how to use this thing. Then I've got to figure out how to prompt it in a way so that I get stuff that I can actually use. Essentially what I'm getting at is that you're just creating more time sucks that you have to get involved in, right? Basically. And so what I like about how, when we think about how we're approaching it, it's really about, all right, how do we eliminate that so you don't have to take a lot of time thinking about like, all right, how do I even use this tool, right? Where you're putting in some keywords. So like I'm having an event on this day and there's going to be a sale, right? Come to the event. You do that. We're doing all of the overlays with what we know about best practices and what works for our small business customers, and then crafting that in a way that gives you something that's usable or easily manipulated to be able to send off. So you're not just sitting at the screen going like, okay, I got to write an email, right? And then to this automation point of it is where it starts to become interesting, because it's that automation piece that then helps you basically get some things set up and then have those working for you all the time. And I think that's where things get interesting. And I think what my point here is that now with the AI component, and as we anticipate what comes in the future, it's this idea of the coaching, helping you plan the things that you're going to do, and really kind of being like almost like an assistant, right? And a coach on some levels, right? Where it's going to give you ideas for things that you want to try and plan out, but then also be able to automate a lot of that for you as well, right? And so I think that's interesting. And I think it is great, to your point, where like, yes, there's been a big thing going on just in terms of like people becoming aware of this technology, but also embracing it in a way that like, hey, this is a way for me to get things done. Because I think there's also the other flip side of it, right? Where people are like, like, which I think on some levels makes sense. But if you think about it, using it in the way that it's meant to be used, it's less about creative output as much as it is like assistance, helping you get to a place that you would take you longer to get to on your own, right? And so I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the interesting parts of our report that we did is we really wanted to try and attach actual use cases to where people are using this technology. And so if you think about time and efficiency and all the different things that small businesses are dealing with on a regular basis, we found actually one of the biggest challenges, or the biggest challenge, kind of unanimously across the board, was attracting new customers. And I think that speaks to some of the opportunity for these technologies, right? Is that they help you overcome those big challenges, those big obstacles. So attracting new customers, marketing to your audience, right? Because it's not just about getting them in the door. You have to keep them around and keep them entertained and keep them engaged and driving more sales. And so it was really cool to see that those are the same places that small businesses are applying AI and applying automation, really to make a difference in the business. It's not just throwing some words into a content generator, not to generalize that. I mean, that makes a big difference too, but it's strategic. I think that's where we've really seen the growth in AI and certainly in automation over the last year or two, is that it's not just something fun that's maybe it's a point solution. And now you can incorporate it into a lot of different levels of your marketing, of your business, and it's going to make a real difference, right? We saw that there are actual tangible, immediate results from the businesses who said that they've started using AI. And it's made a huge difference, and they expect it to make a bigger difference down the road. One other finding we had was that I think it was about a third, maybe like 30% or so of small businesses expect AI and automation to save them $5,000 or more over the next 12 months. So we've got the immediate impact of feeling like they're more successful now since they started using it, to forward looking and saying, oh, I'm going to save a bunch of money here by using this technology. It's not as big of an investment as I thought it was because I'm going to get it back within the next year, right? And there was a third of people that said they would expect to save more than 40 minutes a week. So back to that question of what would you do with more time? Well, with more time, you can attract more customers. You can spend more time on your marketing in the right ways, not just be staring at your screen saying, oh man, how do I invite people to this event?
Yeah, no, I love that idea of, I mean, even just saying that, I love that 40-minute thing, right? It's like, okay.
It's huge.
Well, it's huge because of, again, being able to make headway on a particular task, marketing task, right? Or a particular thing, because like I could argue, as a small business owner, nonprofit leader, whatever the case may be, if you've got 40 minutes that you find yourself with, you're often left with this decision of, okay, do I do this thing that I need to do, or do I open up this kind of can of worms where I'm going to go do this marketing thing where I might not be as comfortable, right? And so as a master procrastinator myself, I'm always going to choose the thing that is easier to do, right? And so it's just like, okay, I'm going to go do this, right? And so I think that's fascinating when, okay, yeah, if you've got this time and you've got the tools to help you actually execute on those things, like it just opens up I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I'm like, yeah, I know I should do that. Like that's one of the things that's been on my list, right? But like now this really opens up the opportunity and the door for taking those actions that will, I mean, anytime we've seen anybody like just implement things, even if they're the foundational things, to me, it's like air cover, right? Because you've got some things that are working and they're generating something for you, whether that's revenue or whatever your business is, folks, donations, or, even just, people coming to things, whatever the case may be. If you've got something working, that opens up the door for you to do something else because you've got something working. You know what I mean? And so it's that whole thing of like success begets success, right? So like if you keep that flywheel kind of going, you're going to be in a good path with your business.
Yeah. And I mean, if you just think about, that 40 minutes, I think everything you're saying, I completely agree with. And it allows you to, marketing kind of can become that thing that is now easier, right? So it's the thing that you put off for a while because it seemed like it was hard and now it's not. So you can actually take the time to dive into it. I think alternatively, another shift is happening in that the thing that maybe took you an hour before, let's call it setting up an email campaign, right? Maybe that took hours and hours, and sometimes it does. that can be done in minutes now. So yes, you can spend more time on your marketing with that extra 40 minutes. You can also spend more time on other things that are not marketing, that are more valuable, more effective, better use of your time. If you're managing staff or fulfilling orders, all the different things that people are doing, right? You can actually spend less time marketing and know that the marketing that you are doing in that less time is going to be better than it was before. That's where the power comes from for me.
So it's funny, right? See what I did there as a marketer? I was like, oh, I'll do more marketing.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny though. It's really funny that you say that because, we were talking before this and about what some of the most surprising things coming out of this study were. And for me, it's not something that we promote a lot or find really crazy or anything like that. But for me, I was surprised. We asked that question about what would you do with another hour in your week. And I expected more small businesses to say, hey, give me a break. I'm going to tap out here for a little while and take some time for myself. That's not how the results came back. The top 3 answers, to your point, were all about being more productive. It was planning for the future. It was fine-tuning my marketing strategy. It was improving my product or service, making tweaks, spending more time talking to my customers. Only about 20% of the respondents said that they would take time for themselves or rest. And to me, that's just, it's admirable. It's crazy. It speaks to the passion, the dedication, the resiliency that small businesses exhibit. Because like I said, I expected it to just be let me take a nap for a little while because we're so busy, right? And everybody knows how busy small businesses are. So they're just going to keep on plugging.
I guess anything else you wanted to add about the report people might find interesting and want to go check it out?
Like I said, we do these reports on a pretty regular basis, a couple times a year. All of the findings are published on our website. You can read our blog has a full, analysis of everything that we've found, but it's distilled in a way that is intended to be a little bit more actionable. So it's not just numbers on a page or, blocks of text that are this long that you're not going to have the extra 40 minutes to read. So we try and make them a little bit more bite-sized and give you some advice for what you can do with this information. So those are all on our website. And I would encourage anybody who's interested or who's looking for some more insights on how they can improve to go in addition to all the things that you're talking about, Dave, and when you talk to customers about those tips and tricks and best practices and all that. I think this can be a really nice add-on to those kinds of things. And if you're nervous or you're curious, or you're not sure how to get started with AI, automation, those, et cetera, I think our findings, for me anyway, are a nice nudge in the right direction to say it can be effective. It can really help improve your business if you take the time to set it up and do it right. It can make a big difference.
Well, friend, let's recap some items from that discussion. Number 1, small businesses are rapidly adopting AI and automation, but most are still just beginners. Number 2, some small businesses are still hesitant to start using AI and automation. And number 3, AI is making an immediate and lasting impact on those who have started using it. So here's your action item for today. Check out the full report to find out more about small businesses and AI. I'll include a link in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. If you have questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me directly at dave.charest@constantcontact.com. If you did enjoy today's episode, please take a moment to leave us a review. Your honest feedback will help other small business marketers like yourself find the show. Well, friend, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and continued success to you and your business.